Hi kids, welcome to Terry on Tuesday. Now, a little thing you should know. This week's episode, as the title suggests, is not going to be about the hunter alien, because I've had a mental busy crazy week. Lots of ripping around and doing job upon job and house stuff and all this. So I'm a little bit stressed out, but I didn't want to skip a week and not give you anything to watch. So this is probably going to be a one-taker, as they say, without any editing. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my MARVIN, because I haven't done anything on MARVIN really for a long time, at least not on video. And I want to show you what sort of progress I've made and some discoveries and things that I've worked on. Thanks to a guy called Merv Staten, sorry if I get your surname wrong, Merv. And Dave Damon and lots of people who've contributed to the general knowledge base of MARVIN, making the models for the head and stuff. As you've probably seen on my Instagram and Facebook, I've started printing the head. Now, I don't have a printer big enough to do it all in one hit, so this has been, as you can see, divided into 8 pieces. There's 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom. So I printed these out and glued them together. It's in PLA. I think I've done the infill a bit thin at 10% because it's very light, you know, and it's very nice. But yes, there's lines and stuff on it, but I'm going to try and sand it and clean it up as best as I possibly can. But I'm very happy with the way it looks. Compared to photos of me with the real thing, this looks like the real sort size kind of thing for it. And also, it should be known that that's not how you wear it. You don't look through the eyes. The original wearer of the costume, Mr. David Lerner, who's, as I record this today on the Sunday, it's happy birthday David, it's his birthday today, he looks through the mouth, so it's about there. Anyway, which pushes the height of MARVIN up to 6 feet, because I'm reasonably the same height as David, so about 5'8"-ish. Anyway, so I've done some sanding on this already. It's very smooth across there. You can see the gap between the pieces, but it's actually dead smooth. There's not even any lines on it. This looks a bit kind of awful, but it is actually very smooth indeed. I scrubbed it with a sanding block, which was dirty from black paint and stuff, so that's where the darkness, those yucky marks go in. But it's very smooth at the moment, but I'm going to sand it a bit more. Then I'm going to give it some filler, then I'm going to sand it a bit more, and then I'm going to give it the new stuff that I've bought, which is called Mr. Finishing, or Mr. Finisher Surfacer, or Mr. Surfacer, I forget. It's a Japanese thing, and basically it's like a resin finishing spray, so I'm going to try and use that. But I've also got to fill gaps. I mean, the reason it doesn't fit perfectly together, and for example, you can see where these don't line up, it's just to do with warpage and that kind of stuff. Now, for the last 25 hours, I've printed the bottom back pieces in one go. There's still a seam line in the middle, but this was printed in one hit. Now the thing about this, I'm going to turn the camera around to the window so we can get some light. Okay, you should be able to see that. You see how it's, obviously there's lots of lines, but it's very thin here. It's a thin bit there, but it's thicker here where the light doesn't get through. So if I can do it, see that? This is the thin patches. Now, I believe this is due to my thin 10% infill, and also because it was such a long print, and bear in mind this was done after another 50 odd hours of printing other pieces. There are all sorts of variables and weirdness going on with 3D printing, like E-steps and retraction and over extruding and under extruding. It's things that I don't pretend to understand. I'm one of these people is that if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, make the best of it. I'm not going to start fiddling with my printer right now with no knowledge whatsoever, because I could make it worse. Anyway, so it's very thin here, and it kind of makes horrible cracky noises if I push it, so I'm going to be very careful. So I'm going to strengthen these thin areas, and where it's thicker at the top, I decided to change the temperature of my printing nozzle while it was printing. I just went from 200 to 215 degrees centigrade. And I think because it melted better, that's why it all sticks together nicer. There's less lines on it. It's very kind of, that feels really strong. I mean, that's not going to make a cracking noise, but this thin stuff will. You can even see the infill, there's that sort of checkerboard pattern behind it. Anyway, it's still a nice piece. And you may note, let's turn the thing around so we get some better light. See the pink stuff there? See the pink marks in the middle? Oh, that line there is when I came home yesterday at about 4 o'clock. So it's like 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it finished about 4 AM, so you can see how long it takes. This pink line is a test. Many years ago, when I first started stormtrooping in 2008, I bought my first stormtrooper suit. I didn't have access, in fact no one had access to the good old E6000. Most people were building it with super glue and those kind of things. So I was told to buy this Ema Plastic Weld. Now you'll be familiar with this if you've ever made model kits. If you were making like a model aeroplanes and things, you either had the squidgy glue like Yoo-hoo or sort of rubbery type glue, or you had this, which would be a jar of this with a little brush connected to the lid, and it's very clear, and the smell of it, it's pear drops. It's very pungent, by the way, because why it went down my throat, but oh, it's really nice though. So yeah, Ema Plastic Weld, I can't remember how much this cost me, but I looked online last night and somebody was trying to sell this bottle. I'm just trying to check what's the 57 milliliter bottle. Someone tried to sell one of these for £7, but I found a seller who's selling these for £2.95. So buyer beware. This is my original bottle for my stormtrooper suit, and it's about that much left in it. So I thought I'd test it. I dipped a little brush in and painted on the PLA in the gap there. So you can see it's pink. The reason it's pink is because I've used it for loads of other jobs, and the colour of the plastic leaches into the glue. It's not sticky. It's a solvent, and it dissolves, and it basically welds one piece of plastic to the other, hence the name Plastic Weld. So I thought I'd paint a little bit on, sort of just drip it in like that, and see if it works on PLA, because most people use super glue on PLA, because super glue works, or cyanoacrylate as they call it, or CA glue, crazy glue if you're in the States. And other people were saying, well, you can't, a PLA is not too bad. If you're using a different material, you have to use different types of glue. But this PLA, this Plastic Weld is fantastic. It really soaks in quickly and it welds it together. So that's what you call a chemical weld. So if I tried to snap this now, that wouldn't snap because that's as strong as the rest of the plastic. It would snap elsewhere apart from the bit that I've glued. So I'm going to probably buy another bottle of this. I'll probably use this stuff up on the rest of the MARVIN, and I am going to attach, you can just see on the inside of the head there's a little bit of pink there where I've clamped that overnight, and that is super tight. I need to take the tape off. I've even plastic welded a square of ABS, in fact, just to hold the middle together, just to strengthen it. This one isn't too bad. I mean, it's a little bit thin at the back. If you hold this up to the light, this is a little bit thin area. But this is where we get to talk about the next thing, the next discovery. I was looking around for a sort of filler. The filler I've used on my other MARVIN parts is called One Strike Filler, and it's very kind of fine. It looks like bicarbonate of soda mixed with water, but actually it's a kind of plastic microbeads in some sort of solution, and it's not great. It comes out like snow, like fake snow, and I slapped it on, and it does, in fact I put some on the wall there. It's not too bad if you sand it, but it's a little bit flaky for my thing, it's a bit dry. So I went to my local Wilkinson's, Wilco as they call it, and looked at all these different types of fillers. And I don't want to use poly filler because that's like an outdoor thing for masonry and cement and stone. But I looked around at all these different types of fillers, and I came across not a problem. It's brown wood filler. Now they do this in white. The reason I got brown is because if I bought a white one, it'd be very difficult to see what I'm, where I've filled it, etc., and where it looks flat. So I thought I'd buy the brown, And now it's made for wood, but it does say it has a lot of adhesion and flexible, and that's the key thing. So the plan is, before I start going crazy and splattering all over Marvin, I think, proof's in the pudding. As I just picked this up, it fractured. See that? That's how feeble it is. It's sort of cracking under its own weight. So I'm going to get some of this. I know we've just gone past the 10-minute mark. Sorry. I'm going to get some of this and I'm going to paste it on the inside of the thin parts. So you'll never see it on the outside, but it may, I hope, strengthen, and it'll give it a good taste, a good test. So I'm not going to throw this piece out, no matter how fragile it is. I'll just say I'm not the sort of person who wants a 3D printer to print finished, perfect pieces. I don't mind, you know, I like to do the assembly and the finishing and everything else. As long as it does the majority of the work for me, you know, that's what I want it for. It does say to massage the tube, make sure it's all soft, but it's a brand new tube, so it's going to be soft. Then you cut this off at a 45-degree angle, which I will do once we angle the thing down. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess in the kitchen of creation today, I do apologise. Anyway, so, got some newspaper at least. And so I'll snip that off. Hey! Alright. Where are you? This is where it hits me in the face. Wow. It doesn't want to come up the tube. Maybe it's really thick. Oh, it's coming up the tube. Can you see it? God, this is thick stuff. There it is. See, I was expecting it to be this dark, but it's actually a kind of caramel colour, which is cool. Now, I do not have my scraper. I do not have my spatula with me. I need to go get it. No, not. I've got a piece of EVA foam which I can use. Is good enough for this. So, oh, here we go. So we'll slap a bit on. Right, we've got a little bogey on there. Let's put the lid on. So you can see that there. Let's see if I can use the nice edge. Ooh, that's good. It's chocolate. And see, because it's brown and looks like chocolate, I will at some point have to make something fake that looks like chocolate. So now I know what to use. Well, it goes on really nicely. It spreads all right. I mean, this isn't the best spreader in the world. Right. Does it stink? No, it smells like standard polyfiller, you know, outdoor filler. That'd be okay. Now I'm going to put some more of this on, and then next time I get to talk to you about Marvin, I will let you know how this stuff has worked for... God, you gotta squeeze this. Should come in a mastic tube, really. But we shall see how the spreading will go. See that? Oh, by the way, this brown stuff is only $2.50 a tube. So it's 330 grams. $2.50 a tube is quite cheap. So I don't mind having to spend a tenner maybe on 4 tubes of this to really strengthen bits of it. I'm not going to spread it any thinner than that, actually. That's just quite a nice smooth. And when I use this on the outside, I'll be putting it over the rough areas and sanding it with sandpaper. Let it go dry, sand it again, and we'll see how that goes. Now, where was the broken bit? Yes, was it here? Was it here? Oh, it's this. Yeah, nasty. So this is where the plastic weld comes into play. I'm definitely going to order a couple more bottles of this. Now I know it works really well on PLA. It says dropping things, so you just dip a bit in there. And I'm just going to paste it up the edge. Remember to not put the brush in my cup of tea. But as you can see, on the thin areas it rushes down the the slots, and it immediately starts melting the PLA. But it doesn't melt for long. It evaporates, but it's already melted the pieces together. Look at that. That's actually glued itself together already. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I never, I didn't throw this bottle out because I thought maybe I could use it, and obviously 2008, God, I mean over 10 years ago, and it's still as good as new. A bit filthy, but this is always worth trying, these crazy experiments. I mean, you can see all the lines from the bad printing or whatever. Maybe my printer nozzle is on the way out or something, but I can fill all this. This will go with a spray filler, body filler, the brown stuff. Yeah, so I'm just gonna while I've been talking, I've just gone a bit crazy with it and splattered it everywhere because I know it will glue itself. Look, it's gone, that's glued. I mean, it's a little bit bendy now. You can see that sort of doing a wave there. But that's just because it's soft at the moment. Once that evaporates and dries up, it should be a tight, tough bond again. So just looking for some thin areas that I can put some of this on. So I hope you find this as interesting as me. Probably not, but then again, who does? Like I say, I'm sorry I haven't done much on the Hunter Alien because I did want to do a bit more work before I showed you it. But that's a large sit down and cut things job, and I just haven't had the time to do it. In the meantime, yeah, we're on 17 minutes. Oh, sorry. Okay, right, that's all for this week. I've got a cup of tea which has been nuked once because it went cold, and I may have to do it again. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe down there. Feel free to leave any comments. Constructive criticism, always welcome. Criticism for no apparent reason, not welcome. And join me on the Facebook page, Terry on Tuesday. And we can talk about this, Hunter Alien, films, stuff. We got lots of stuff coming up, especially about the new film, Wow. That's what it's called, by the way. Yeah, so join in, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Take care now. Bye bye then.